All right, everybody there? Can everybody hear me? All right, welcome to my Thanksgiving streamathon, preceding the later Christmas streamathon. Hopefully, I'll still have content by the end of the year. Starting to become a struggle, but I found some extra things to do, and today we are going to be doing some photos from the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum. This is one of the last couple sets from 2006. It's going to be short. It's a late start. It's a Sunday, so we're going to get right on it. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a short thing tonight, and then I'll be back tomorrow, finish it up. Then I have a really good one of a Boston trip, and then probably to round things out would be midwinter trip of 2000, number 6. That's going to be the first batch with my better camera, so I'm not sure how far into 2007 I'm going to be going. It's going to be somewhat far because the quality of the photos still isn't very good, but we're definitely leaving the prehistoric phase of my my photo collections. Okay, anyway, this isn't the most exciting thing, but museums are museums, but we'll see what we can do. We're going to start off with some non-B&O museums. I happened to take a photo randomly of Patco, right, as they were installing their, what I'll say, new fare gates and now their old fare gates. And this is unfortunate because I didn't get any really, this is the only photos I have of their their semi-original fare collection system. And I really, really regret not taking more photos of that. It was just something that was not, again, one of those things that weren't on my radar until it was gone. And it went in a hurry. It was there and then it wasn't. And I just don't know why I didn't take more photos of their mag stripe card system from Cubic. They had been in service for quite some time. It's the Gen 1 of automatic fare control. Definitely not very handicapped accessible. I mean, you kind of could get through it, but these machines were. The card had a very low density mag stripe. It wasn't even a stripe. The entire back of the card was magnetic. It saved a variety of information on the card. The cards had to be recoded. Cards were collected. They were plastic, just like they were effectively the same as a New York City Metro card. Good for 1 or 2 rides or 10 rides. After use, they'd be collected, recoded with the new rides, put back in the fare machine, and sold to you with that number of rides on it. I saw these getting fixed. They were getting really, really long in the tooth, but they were really neat machines. And they were this. They had a lot of what do you call that? Sound and whatever associated with them. You'd sort of put the card in the front. The machine would carry it through and eject it at the end. So as you came through, you'd pick it back up, or it would, if it was you were at the end of your trip, it would. Take the whole thing for you, but they were really neat. And I can't believe I never got video of these things working. I have tons of the fare. I have a bunch of the fare cards. When it was clear they're going to be not around anymore, I started just stealing the fare cards. But I used them for so long, and I'm almost to the point where I've had the new stuff for longer than the old stuff. But just a missed opportunity. These were at 8th and Market, and I just grabbed, this is the first time I saw the new stuff going in. I was taking a photo to post on the website, on a forum, that the new fare gate was there, and I realized I should have been taking a photo of the old fare gates. This is backed up on my second photo of the new ticket vending machine. This is also interesting. Again, forget about the new machine. You could see the remnants of the old system. Patco manufactured. What they would do is they would sell a select number of tickets at each station. You could see them right here. Each fare machine would sell 2 kinds of tickets. I think in Philly they had 3 machines. So you'd have to go to the machine that had like the right ticket. You would import change. They would only take change. And then they'd spit out, you hit a button, and with a really satisfying clunk, it would spit out the fare card. And remember, a lot of those machines were actually modified and designed and supported by in-house mechanical forces. They actually designed at some point they had an unreliable change coin counter, and someone in the internals mocked one, did one up that calculated by weight. Really, really neat. But what was fascinating is that the old machines didn't take bills. They didn't take credit cards for sure. They didn't take bills. So all my New York friends would come down from New York and they would be like, no, you got to bring cash and you got to change your cash into Susan B. Anthony dollars at the change machine and then you can buy your ticket. Oh boy, those are the times. They were baffled. Absolutely. I loved the old system. I absolutely loved it. And today, now when you buy a single ride or a round trip ticket, it expires in 3 days. So the other day, I bought a round trip thinking I was taking Amtrak back, and then I managed to get a ride with my cousin back down to Baltimore. But I already bought a round trip. I usually don't buy round trips, but I figured this time I'd take the chance. But yeah, and the ride just went to waste because now they expire them. Just a thing that they do. All right, here we are in the down at the B&O Museum. This is on the. They have a little ride you do. I went right before this. I was on the stream. I was going to pull up the B&O Museum's website so I could identify their equipment, and it's just the worst family-oriented crap. They don't even have a listing of all their rolling stock. So a lot of museums do, but that's just basic. It's just absolutely terrible. But they have a train ride for the kiddies. I learned that thanks to other online sources, I learned that this was a B&O, what they call a wagon top box car. It was one of the B&O's things. It didn't have a seam down the middle, but it would go up and around over the sides. I pulled up some. I visited the B&O Museum. So this was a 2006 trip I took with my family. I also took a 2014 trip with some friends. I'm just double checking how. Yep, that's how I do it. I'm just double checking how I do the. This 2006. I had a terrible. What do you call it? Naming convention. So I'm going to fix that. Along with the other stuff I tend to fix. Here we have again, these are all, I'm not sure how much these things are still there. These museums are known for occasionally having to scrap stuff, and they'll trade it around too. But here we have a B&O, a Chessie era B&O marked boxcar. Looks like it's next to like a crane or something. I think it's a wagon top boxcar down by the Savage Station. It's privately owned. There's definitely a caboose there. I don't know if there's a boxcar as well. This is B&O 910587. Oh, it's not a it's a ladle car. Not sure who even would have owned that though. Looks like it's 57. Sometimes I'll just attribute things to the museum. Let me see how I did this back in the day. Yeah, if it's a B&O Museum special, I'll just tag it as a B&O Museum. Whoa, we got stuff going on here. I guess I didn't think how. Yeah, hold on a second here. Yeah, they're very similar to BART, but I don't know if BART is a new system right now. Yeah, you would think that the B&O Museum would have had just like a listing of all their rolling stock, but just they have like five. Oh my God! It's if you go to the B&O Museum your website yourself, it's you'll see it's just incomprehensible. Oh God! It's like it's designed for, again. It's likely designed for parents and their families who know nothing. Trolley museums do a better job of listing what they have. Wikipedia does a good job with the B&O, but they don't list any of the non-rolling, any of the non-locomotive stock. Because at least those will yay, the museum's definite party piece, or sorry, one of the stars, although it's not in very good condition. I think they're working to figure out what they can do with number 4876 here. Interestingly enough, I was just talking with a friend of mine who's an electrical engineer. And he's living up near that Reading Technical and the Reading Railroad History Museum in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. He basically mentioned that it would not be difficult. It would be highly likely that one could restore Reading MUs to service, because they didn't have oil-filled transformers that had to be removed or any other components like that. They were likely retired intact with the traction motors and the air-cooled transformers, and it's very simple under them, because Reading sort of put them together themselves. So in theory, if there was enough interest, someone could likely restore them to service, get them down, and badger SEPTA to let them do fan trips with them. And SEPTA is, they let people do that with the trolleys. So, like I said, anyone who's listening out there, it is technically feasible for Reading MUs to be brought back for excursion service. I probably have a 2014 photo of this. I don't want to step off. I don't want to have a collision on the names. So let's see how I differentiated that, if I did at all. I'm not sure I did the train ride in 2014. Nah, they moved it around a bit, but I didn't get a full thing of it. There we go. 4876, I believe, is the one that fell into the basement at Union Station when they had the braking problem. It was cut into 3 pieces and reassembled. Retired by Conrail because it was I forget what number. Up to a certain number were geared for 90. I thought it was like 4850, and then after another one. See, it says, oh, that isn't a Conrail. No, this would have been an NJ Dot unit. I think the first 55 were geared for 90 miles an hour, and they generally went to Conrail. 4876 and 4877, I believe, were both NJ Dot. I'm sure someone will correct me, whatever it is. I can always look on the doohickey here. Yeah, that's the one that fell into the basement. Yeah, I don't know if it was NJ Dot, but it looks like it was NJ Dot. You could, so GG1, so the reason I mentioned restoring the Reading MUs is because they never lost their transformers. They still have them. They have almost all the original equipment. A lot of them there was no reason to gut them, and by just a cursory inspection, if you look under a Reading MU, a lot of them even still have their motors. they're very at least some of the ones that Reading Tech do. And they never had like the control groups removed. They never had the transformer removed because there was no piece, there was nothing in them. The problem you have with the GG1 is that it had PCBs in the transformer. So in most cases, either the transformer was I don't think they removed it, but they it would be difficult to put it back in service. You'd have to refill it with new oil, and maybe that wouldn't even work because there'd still be contamination. So that's the main problem. That you totally avoid the PCB issue with the Reading MUs. They are the most likely electric MU, AC electric MU, to be restored to full. There's nothing that's incompatible with the way they are. It's unlikely, but it's still they're the ones that you could do it with. I think there aren't any MP54s there are barely any MP54s because everybody hated them. And I think that they always had oil-filled transformers, the AC ones. Oops. Sorry, I'm just getting the name right. I just came from a very busy day up in Reading country myself, getting a lot of Reading and Northern and other photos. Yeah, so when I originally had this set of photos, I was trying to name them, be museum specific and blah blah blah, and it was just a bad news. From those sealed beams, it looks like this crane's still operable. Maybe they have it for museum related purposes, like they derail something. Of all the museums, the B&O is definitely it's a heavyweight in terms of museums. I don't think that, but at the same point, that means they can, because they have a certain key bunch of items, they can charge a lot more. The activities I don't consider to be that much better than other museums. Maybe even a little hands. I mean, I kind of prefer the PRR one. Definitely, I think has a lot of interesting stuff. But the B&O, has like, we've got like the oldest locomotive, the oldest diesel, the oldest E unit. PR the Transportation Museum in Pennsylvania can't really say a lot with that, except the fact that they have all these neat PRR stuff. Here's 633. Let's see what this guy is. Do they not have it? Is it gone? Huh. Strange. 633. Maybe they changed the number. Yeah, it says it's there. What is it? It's an SW900. Ooh, it's pretty late. Maybe it got sold. Yeah, no new. There it is in 2008. Oh wait, it goes down a lot farther. Yeah, it's still there. Oh, it's really not looking good. Let's see why it's not coming up into this. Nah, someone just didn't add it to the never added it to the list. Guess it's not notable rolling stock. All right. Oh, here's their Jordan spreader. But it actually has a CNO number. 914050. All right, I'm going to go with it. Alrighty. Nice Western Maryland. Looks repainted. Not sure if they use this for excursions or whatever now. Let's see. Let's again check the thing. 236. What the hell? Was there in 2007, was there in 2009, 2013, 19. Yeah, it's there. Don't know why it's not on the Wikipedia page. Paint's definitely fading a little bit. That's one of those things that when you repaint these things, if you don't give them that proper automotive finish, the paint will just fade immediately in the UV. There's a way that they paint cars and locomotives and stuff. I don't know what I mean. I'm just gonna say automotive finish, but you have to do a special thing. Reading and Northern got into that where they came out literally like a roller. They painted some stuff up, and then by the end of the year, it all looks quite crap because it just faded away because they didn't finish it. They now found someone who can do that properly. This is going to be a very short thing. I'm going to have one more set here of... I did 12 now? Probably should have done a few more. Oh yeah, I was going to do 3 sets of 10. So, this is what I'm guessing is a 567B that they got. There's a lot of the stuff in the B&O Museum that's been there since like the 50s. Like the stack, like these displays, and you'll see the air brake stuff. So I'm just going to assume that this is a 567B. Because I know when this went in, this was like an adequate representation of like state-of-the-art diesel engine technology. And now it is like a museum. I'm positive when did this open? Let's see. No, 66. Wait, hold on. No, I don't care about the roundhouse. I want the date of the museum opened. You're right, 1953, and I can tell, you'll see the stuff that you know is from the 1950s. And I bet when the museum was opened, that was like a legit diesel. Regarding the GG, yeah, the GG ones were withdrawn for frame cracks. You can fix that, though. It's possible. But that's, again, I wasn't bringing up the GG1 issues. Like I'm saying, those Reading MUs, they're used in Reading Railroad History Museum just sold a couple to New Hope and Ivyland, and they got really nicely painted out. I don't know if they're going to be, again, I don't know. You have to find ones that have the motors intact. And then I think they generally left the stuff in the control groups on. The one at PRR Museum, Pennsylvania Museum is fully intact, and I think they have at least one of them at Reading Railroad History Museum that I know is fully intact, but I don't know how many others they have. Yeah, I'm sure. Listen, regarding a GG1, they are literally rebuilding a T1 from plans. I don't know when it will finish, but I bet it will. So if they can rebuild a T1 from plans, they can rebuild a GG. They can fix some frame cracks in a GG1. Like that's just or make new frame. Like again, if you can they are building a T1. This is another thing that people, my friend was talking about, in that, there's a lot of weird biases about restoring an AC electric locomotive. Or anything AC electric, like an MU. People, oh, it's dangerous. Like a steam locomotive is so much more dangerous than an MU. It's ridiculous. There's way more that can go wrong with a steam. Like a boiler inspection is ridiculous. Like all of that stuff, people will put steam back together, but no one gives a crap about electric. And a Reading MU could run on set. You could totally cut Amtrak out of that conversation. They do not need to be involved at all for the case of the Reading MU. Especially as waves are being made of re-electrifying to West, because you can just go from Doylestown to Westchester on SEPTA tracks. It's just a thing I'm mentioning. So if this ever comes up and you're in a conversation, whoever's hearing my voice, if you're in a conversation and someone brings up restoring a GG1, nod, say something, and they'll be like, you know what you can restore? A Reading MU. They still use 25 hertz, still 12 kV. They can put cab signals in them. Some of them. One of them, I think one of them that got sold to Ivyland was one of the SEPTA ones that was on their gel train. The photos just came out on SubChat, or Kevin Painter stopped posting the SubChat because SubChat went down for about the better part of a month, and now his solution. I was trying to hook him up with like web space for his photos. His solution was to email like 20 megabytes worth of photos to everybody on a regular basis. I gotta be like, dude, you're filling up my email. Like, stop. I don't know. I don't want to be mean. He's the type of guy that like takes his ball and goes home. So you gotta approach it pretty carefully. All right, this is B&O 5300 cab. So nice to be able to do these photos in a better quality than they currently exist online. I really need to get up. I need to get them more available and other stuff. I have some logistical issues of what I can do with the photos and redoing those older classic photos on some of these. Especially where I already had everything over 2006 has some issues of how I need to get this up. But in terms of reactivating anything that's not a Reading MU, a GG1 would be the most likely because there are so many of them. I mean, there's one P5, there's a B1, and that is everything from PR mainline steam electric. Oh, there's an E44. Maybe there's multiple E44s. There's one. There might only be one. Just the center of the the boiler here in 5300. Sorry, I got slowed down a little bit there, but it's nice what they're able to do now with the steam locomotive restoration. I think that as we've gotten more advanced manufacturing capabilities, a lot of that stuff it went from a thing that was an art to a thing that no one knew how to do to a thing that people can do again because we have like CNC machines. You can take a 3D laser scan something and then like fabricate it. For the longest time, there was kind of, besides regulations changing, we definitely had a sort of a golden age of steam excursions from from about 1960 through the 80s, and a lot of that was simply because you had existing steam locomotives that were still in good nick from when they got retired, and they were just able to run the remaining miles off them. Then they all started needing rebuilds again. You didn't have to run them through Strasburg. Where was I going with this? Actually, don't know where I was going with this. Hold on. Oh, that's what I remembered. So, there was a period of time where I've heard anecdotally that there was a number of attempts to do some, like, I remember there was a Reading T locomotive that they tried to convert to oil, and they ruined it. And by ruin, I mean they did something and the locomotive could not pull anymore. Like, the wheels would just spin. And no one could figure out what was wrong. It was like they did. This is the story I used of, it's how we can't rebuild like the Apollo era stuff, because it was all this shop knowledge. There was a lot of like steam locomotive design knowledge that was kind of lost, and whatever they did to try to convert one of the Reading 2100 series to oil, it disrupted the balance, and then the wheel, it couldn't get the power down anymore. Again, this is an anecdote that someone mentioned. There's a bunch of those T1s around, and like I said, one of them, it was like they tried to do it at Steamtown, and then it just couldn't pull because they just didn't know how it actually. There's something that some dude knew, back in 1940 when it got the rebuilt the last time. Hold on. Sorry about that. One second. This reminds me of how I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. There's a period of time after Conrail closed down the Reading shops that Bennett Levin took it over for quote unquote storage, along with the collection of the Reading Railroad History Museum, same one I was just mentioning. And literally, this is a story from the guy that I was talking to, and then he gave a presentation on it. He has all the photos. What is 5300 anyway? Blah blah blah. P7 class Pacific. Okay, that's what that is. Baldwin. Blah blah blah. Is there anything particularly special about this? I always compare it to a K4. Oh wow, they built 200. Oh yeah, blah blah blah. 3 B&O that were built in the. Oh wow, one of 3 B&O locomotives that were built in the 20th century. That's unfortunate. Yeah, one of them's a switcher too. Yikes. Yeah, not a good job preserving things, B&O. This is of course one of the Alleghenies they have at the B&O Museum. C&O 1604. Yeah, the Allegheny. These are generally considered to be the second most powerful locomotives from depending on how you'd measure them. But these are up there with the Q2s. I think these could do about 7,000 horsepower, despite being two sets of three coupled and are articulated. These are about on par with a Penske Q2 and way more successful than a Penske Q2 as well. See, by this point, unlike earlier ones, the fireman in this thing was all these valves were to control. Everything was automated, but all the automation needed supervision. So instead of doing a lot of stuff by hand, the engineer was adjusting all this stuff by these little knobs. So he was always, getting the best out of his. The fireman was always getting the best out of the boiler in terms of some of these ones down here was how you distribute the steam sprayers for spraying the coal on the auto stoker. So there's all sorts of just stuff you'd sort of just set up and leave alone. But because everything, nothing was electric, it was all mechanical, so it was all work off steam. Oops, that was, whatever. I'll leave it alone. I'm not resizing this one because I want the detail. The details in this are important. Here we just have the another view of the engine. See right down there, that stuff there. That's the stoker blast. So you could just adjust it, and that's where it would blast the pulverized coal into the various parts of the whatchamacallit, the firebox. How big was the firebox on? What was it on this guy? Wikipedia is so bad for a lot of locomotive stats. Great on 5,300 is 70 square feet. That's about the same size as a K4. Let's just see what 1604 is up to here. 1941, man, this is a late. Yeah, it's late. They even have firebox on it. Yeah, 7,500 horsepower, and the Qs were just a shy more. For comparison, the much vaunted Union Pacific Big Boy was only 6,000 and change. Very large firebox. But here's the funny thing. Starting tractive effort was only 110,000 pounds of force, which is good for the time. But consider that an AC locomotive will, like a rebuild, an AC 44C6M rebuild will generate around 80,000 pounds of tractive effort. That's just nuts. I mean, it just steam would get the job done, but it wouldn't get it quite as a job as it wasn't quite as good as a lot of people. Back in the day they had all this power and whatever, but it's about getting the power down. I wish I could give a better talk on tractive effort versus horsepower and how those are interrelated. I need to learn up on that a little bit to be able to talk about that. But like an AC 44C6M. I just want to see what its thing is. But it's got to have the tractive effort. Yeah, 180,000 pounds continuous, 200,000 pounds starting. So on half this rebuild that was made around 20-something years ago, and then got rebuilt with AC traction using the same 4,400 horsepower engine. This again has about a little more than half the horsepower and is able to output nearly double the pulling power, thanks to the modern miracle of AC traction. NS used to be really steam friendly until that CEO retired. He was a great guy. I mean, yeah. I don't know what more to say. And they were hosting 611 up, down, and sideways, and then they dumped their steam program. Yeah, I just might be able to save this one as, or I don't even know if I need to save this one. Sorry, got lost track of its. And here we have the nice front of 1604. Things will come and go. Yeah, it's definitely another thing. So for both steam and passenger, in the up through the 1980s, railroads still had a lot of their excess capacity from the old days. Their relentless drive to slim down really cut their ability to do things like, host steam, without causing a mild amount of impact. I mean, NS was able to host those fall trains. I'm sure they would do it again, but it all depends. All right, last set here. Like I said, I'll hopefully get you out of here early. Yep. And I'll be back tomorrow, of course. I actually have an NRHS meeting tomorrow, so I'll be back. I'll schedule this for the normal time, but there might actually be a legitimate delay. Now I'll be back. I'll be back by 10:15 to do it. But I'm glad that I have another short thing tomorrow. It's the front of 5300. This is a terrible photo, but it's a part of the C&O Streamliner, which is I think 490. If I went back, I'd have a cell phone, my camera phone with me, which is way better at light. So okay, remember I said the 1950s? How you could tell this museum was started in the 1950s? That font on this the carbore and air brake equipment, that is so a 1953 font. I can save this. How much did this get saved down to? Yeah, I can do a little bit bigger on that, make it more legible. Yeah, that's better. And here's the locomotive equipment. I don't know my air brake schedules. I should, but again, that's another thing that I need to get into at some point. I can still kind of see stuff here. And, oh, there's a 51. I think that's 51, the E unit there. Yeah, it looks like 51. I was going to remind myself of what that is. It's like a, what, E something? Hold on. Come on, GP7. EA. Ah, an EA. There you go, number 51. I think this was like the first. It's always hard to tell the whole electromotive, like what was first, because they made like 8 different prototype series. Yeah, these are the first E units. Winton 201 equipped. No, I think that unfortunately this lost its Winton 201. Although everyone says, a lot of people pine for the Winton 201, saying, "Oh, I wish we could have." Apparently, they were trash. It'd be nice to see one running. You know what I've heard? There was like a Winton 201 in a New York City fireboat up until the 21st century. I don't know what happened to it, but that exists. I could have sworn I saw a thing about that existing. Blah, blah. They're built more or less simultaneously with the E1s. See, that's why. And the E2s. So this says build date May 16th. This just says 1937 to 38. The same thing, 1937. So it's hard to tell which one was the first. I mean, I guess these came out the door first. Styling preservation. Yeah, I'm betting that these got an engine rebuild at some point. I was reading a book about it. Oh, that's great. Yeah, honestly, with the 1361, the thing the way to approach that is someone should have just gone and fucking lobbied the FRA. Go through Biden. Get their those were safe. It's one of those things that like the FRA says, oh, your boiler has to be this thick, but that they were built that way, and they were clearly like they were as thick as they ever were. There's nothing wrong with the boiler, and but you know it's just because of what they it's one of those things. Is like you like no one in railroading knows how to get like every other industry. You get like everyone's happy to you call the right senator and things happen, but never in railroads. Like preservation, no one ever seems to like unless you want to spend $20 billion on a Penn Station expansion. I just don't get why they can't get the boiler thing, get a waiver on that, or get them to change lobby them to change the regulation. One second. All right, just again, 490 in the ET behind it. Oops. The same thing was that's also what zapped 1227 and 1224 or what is it? Whatever the D16 and the E unit, the E. They had the same issue, is that the PRR just made their boilers slightly thinner. One of the major issues with these inside when these engines. I mean, it's great to store them in out of the elements, but you just can't get any good photo angles on them at all. That's why I was so thankful when they towed. For 4935 down to DC for that Centennial in 2008. You can get some good photos. Up Pierre Marquette. What is this? I read it on the thing here. Oh, an SW1, 1942. It actually runs. Someone was trying to say that Metra SW1 is the oldest one in active service. That hasn't been the oldest diesel in active service. I think it was built in 1939. Rumored to be one of the oldest diesels in Illinois. Blah blah. That is not in like a museum thing. There were some Alco high hoods running around. People don't remember a lot of the SW1s were built up until 1953. So you have ones that are like ridiculously old, and they're the ones that are like only moderately old. You know, pre-war versus post-war. Yeah, SW1's like a little lawnmower. They have like, if you see them open, they have this ridiculously tiny V6 inside of them. I want to check there. There was an Alco HH running around in Ohio. But I don't know what happened to it. It smoked like a Dickens. A few working HS locomotives. Go for scrap in Minnesota. I don't know what happened to that Ralco one. These are built in. These are all, I'm sure, pre-war. (1932 through 39). So if there was a HH, if there was an HH one, it would almost certainly be the oldest. But yeah, sorry to go on a little random tangent there. Huh. That's odd that I got a bot on this not very populated stream. Alright, sorry, I need to finish this up. I worry that, like, today is the fun stuff, because tomorrow you go into the museum and it's all just these ancient steam locomotives that I don't care about. Now, see, they got like a transformer car with a random transformer on it. I mean, I guess that's good in case you got some sort of drone attack. You got one lying around, but I wonder why they got a transformer or where that came from. C2943. And the last photo of today. See, we're going inside now at this point. I'll talk more about the inside of the museum and the stuff with the roof collapse tomorrow. The M1, nice dynamometer car. All right, there's one thing I wanted to mention. I want to do a quick street view here before I go. Don't care about Boston. I'm going to roll down to what I want to see if there's. I know there's a caboose at Savage, like right across from the Savage Mark station. There's like, I'm not sure if it's a rail club or someone just owns it or what. It looks like it's just the caboose. Yeah, it's a caboose and just a caboose. Don't know who owns it. Oh, it's the Baltimore. It's the uh, oh, it's just the B&O Railroad Historical Society. So I guess they're their own thing. Cute. I wonder if they own the house. Why would the Historical Society needs like this giant yard full of cars and box trucks? How much history do they have to do? Or maybe they just have a permanent easement there or something. Sometimes that happens. Alright, that was one thing I want to check out. I forget what the other thing was. It was something related to that Alco high hood. Yeah, just I used to do some searches. I'll go back and search on eBay to see if I can see what's up with that Relco high hood. Hold on. I can just do a search. Relco is the name of the leasing thing. Sorry, it might have gotten okay, it looks like the Relco high hood might have gotten sold into preservation. Oh wait, sorry, there's number 601. Sorry, I'm just checking. Alright, I'll check this later. Anyway, thank you guys for showing up. Let's see if we have any questions in the old chat. It's just like if it's, they got some property, so they parked a caboose there. It's right next to the tracks. You can just use a crane to get it off. All right, I'll see you guys around. You guys have a safe holiday weekend, but I'll be back tomorrow. So the schedule this week for Jessica, you weren't here before, or anybody else who's listening. I guess it's only you two. We've got this second part 2 here tomorrow, Boston Green Line, and then Septimid Winter Trip, 2006. So that should finish up the week. All right, have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.